Hello everyone. So in this session, we will continue from where we left in the last session. You must be remembering that in the last session, we have discussed how to log into a website using the database. This was the screen that we did created, and the user Arvind at gmail.com, password Arvind 12345 was the correct password, so it will allow and we can log in. Now, suppose the user is not yet registered, because when the user will register, his detail will be stored here and it has to be in the active state to log in. So what we have to do, we have to, from the register button, if the candidate is not yet registered, he will register. So to register, we'll use this registration form, which we have seen just now, and using that registration form, we'll try to register. So that's what we have to discuss today. If we can come to this here, if the user is not registered, then registration link will be clicked and we will be here in this registration form. And here we have to enter whatever value the user wants to enter this way, and whatever password, and then with the registration now button, when this registration now button will be clicked, this information has to be saved in the uh, database, and from there this user can register again. So this is the task that we have to complete today. So I have not yet created the code because I want to show you from the very scratch how we will be doing it. Only this registration form is already created. So I'll come to the registration form. You can see these are the things that we have discussed. Register, this is the registration form. In the registration form, we have a form. Okay. This form has a name, uname. This has an email with value email. This has a password with value password, and this has a submit button. And when we click the submit button, here we have to use the code to store the value in the database. So first of all, what we have to do, we have to start with the include config.php, because in the config.php file we store the server name, username, password in the database. So this is important. And now in the register.php, if you remember the login.php code, you can see here in the login.php code, we take the values. These are the values from the form. Then we write the code and then we execute the query. So I'll copy this. This is the same code that we have to execute in register. I'll come to the register. I'll come to the submit button part. I'll come here, and here these two lines are already there. So I'll delete it. By default, when the user will register, the status will be pending and the admin will check whether this is a valid user, and the admin will give the approval. So this will be in the pending state, and here what we have to do, we have to write the insert code. So what will be the insert code? Let us come to the database. This is the database structure. If you can see the structure of this database, ID is auto-generated, so we do not have to use ID. We have to use name, email ID, password. Status will be by default. Status will be by default pending, and date will be the system date, the current date and time. So name, email ID, password, status, and date. If you do not know the insert command, you can click here and you will rather in the SQL. And here, if you click the insert button, from this SQL, if you can click this insert button, you will get this code. And you have to provide the value. So we do not have to enter the ID. So because ID is auto-generated, I'll delete this. Name, email ID, password, status, and date will be there. And these are the values that we have to supply. This is the name value. Then the second value is that of the email. Then the third value will be of password. Then the fourth value will be of the status, and the fifth value will be of the date. And this is only 5 values we have to supply. You can see name, email ID, password, status, and date. This is name, then email ID, password, status, and date. This is how we can write. Now copy this and come to your code. Here in the SQL, you paste it. Okay, so we have pasted. So in this way, if you do not remember the syntax of insert command, you can do it. Now, we have to provide the value of name. The value of name is, let us see. The value of name is uname, password is password, email is email. So user, this is username. This is for underscore post, and here we have to supply email. These are the three values that will be coming from the form, and this is dollar. Okay, so dollar, these are three values that are there in the form. You can see we have name in uname text box, email in input type. Here, instead of text, if we write email, it will be also validated. So I'll keep it email, and then we have password. So these three values will come. Then we have a status. So I'll provide these values here, where we have to provide. These are the 4 places. So this value will be dollar username. Okay. Second value will be dollar email. Third value is dollar password. Then the fourth value is dollar status. And the fifth value is the now function. Now function will insert the current date. And here, whenever we are using a variable, we have to provide concatenation dot operator before and after this. So this here will be providing before and after the variable, you have to provide the concatenation operator. And before the dot, you have to provide the double quotes. This is the syntax. So this is the syntax. I'll explain this once again because this is very important and there are a lot of confusion in this. First of all, I'll try to show you the implementation part. Once it is implemented, I'll try to make you understand this. So insert into login, name, email ID, password, status, and date. These are the 5 columns. Then these are the 5 values, username, email, password, status, and now will be the system date. So that will go into the date. We have, if you can see the database, what is there in the database? You can see we have name, email ID, password, status, and date. Date is the current date. So we do not have to enter today's date. We want the system to provide the today's date. So it will be more convenient for the user. So now, if you can see the code, what we have written, when the user will click this submit button, it will take out these three values from the form. Default value of status is pending. Then we are writing the insert command, and then we are providing the executing the query. And when this query is executed, we want to give the user a message that the record entered successfully or registered successful. The registration successful. So let us try to run this and see if it is happening or not. And if there will be something missing, we will see what are the changes to be done. So let us run this. And to run this, we'll come here. This is the name that we have already provided. Let the password be Archana 12345. And now let us click the submit button. If we click the submit button, you can see here registration successful message at the bottom. You can see here registration successful. And now if we will see the database, we should have one record. So you can see we have one record with the status pending, and this is today's date that has been entered into the database. So this is how, if the candidate is not registered, he or she can register first and then log in. But now if the candidate Archana wants to log in, she cannot log in because the status is pending. This has to be activated. So it is the work of the admin to activate. How the admin will activate it, we'll see. But let us try to understand the process once again. Suppose the user is not logged in, not registered. So we'll start with logged in form. If this candidate is not registered, then he'll come to this form. Here he will enter like this. And the password will be whatever password the user wants to enter. And then you can see registration is successful. And now if you go to the database and if you browse, then there's one more, there should be one more record. Yes. Now, if we try to log in with this poojak@gmail.com, let us see if it is allowing us to. This is login poojak@gmail.com and 1234567 8. If we try to log in, username and password is strong. Message is coming. Why? Because this is in the pending state. So if we can make it active, so if we can edit and make it active, the admin will make it active. And if we can see here, you can see it is active. Now the same candidate, if we enter pooja@gmail.com 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, then we can log in. So this is how we have to use the registration process. Now I'll explain the registration code once again. If you can come here. See, this is the form. This form is very simple form. It has this form is starting from here. It has name, label, and you name input type text. Then it has an email label, then email input type email, then password, input type password. So these are the three informations that we are taking. So these three information, when the user clicks the submit button, these three information is accepted. The status will be pending. And then we have to write this code, the insert code, and then we have to execute it. Now to write this insert code, I'll explain this because this is tricky. So I'll put this in comment and I'll explain you once more. $SQL equals to, we'll write insert into table name, login. And what are the columns that we have to insert value? We have to insert value in name column. Then we have to insert in email column. Then we have to insert in password column. Then we have to insert the status column. Then we have to insert in the date column. So if you can see these columns here, we have name, email, password, status, and date. These are the columns. ID is auto-generated, so we do not have to enter this. So name, email, password, status, and date. So if I can come here, insert into login, these are the columns. And then I have to supply the values. So values, and then the first value. First value is $username. This is the variable where we have to enter. So whenever we are writing any variable in a string, this is a string command. So we'll give double quotes twice. In this double quotes, we'll give dot twice, and then we'll give $user name. Then we have to come again to the second part. Here we have to provide the second value. So I'll give comma. And one more thing, because this username is text, we have to supply single quotes here. Single quotes. So if I can explain once again, because this is a bit confusing. This is the command. Okay, insert into login, name, email. These are the column name, values, and we have to provide 5 values here. So 5 values, how will we provide? So let us use $username, comma, then $email, comma, then $password, comma, then $status, comma, then date and time is auto generated, so it will be this way. So these are the values, and all those values which are of character type has to be in quotes. So we'll provide single quotes here, then we'll provide single quotes here, then we'll provide single quotes here, and we have a single quotes here. And now before and after each variable, we have to provide a dot. Dot is the concatenation operator, adding strings. So this is one way of putting. Okay. So these are the variables that we have used. So in the command, you can see insert into login name, email, password, status, date, values, dollar username, email, password, status, and now. So this is how we can uh, write the code. The code is written. And now we have to execute this command. So we'll execute this command using the query.sql. And if this thing has executed properly, then we have to give the message to the user that the record has been saved or inserted. Then we can use the echo command for the user to tell that the registration is successful. Now, if you can come here in the registration, register.php, I'll enter, suppose, email.com. Password is 412345678. I'll click the register button. The register is successful. Go to the here, and here you can see that this has been done and registration is pending. So if you want that the user should be active, then you have to give here the active. You have to edit and make it active so that you can register. So this is how we can use the insert command to register any user. We have used a very simple form, simplest form. It has only three values. One is for email, one is for text, one is for password, and the date is automatically being taken, and the ID is also automatically being taken. So try to implement this, and if you have any query, then we'll solve it. And the next thing that we have to do that is very important, we'll be creating an admin panel. And from the admin panel, we will try to activate these things, because the admin will not use the database, will not open the database as we have opened, but admin will be using the admin will be using his own panel from where he can activate it. So we'll see how to activate the admin, and then we'll use all those things. So uh, please try to implement these things, and then we'll use. There is one error you can see here. There is dot is coming. That means we have uh, put some extra code. Let us see. Hmm. We have missed the double quotes. Has to be in double quotes. That is why it was coming like that. All the punctuations that we use, the syntax that we use, has to be in double quotes. I'll provide the code as well. So I have given you two methods. You can use this command, and from the database itself, you can take this command that is in the commented. And otherwise, if you know the command, you can directly write it. And if we will execute it, you can see that. Let us try once again. If we want to register, suppose 1 3 password is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Registration is successful. You can come to the browser. You can see that now the dot is not coming because there was a mistake. So I'll delete this because this is not correct format. So this is how we can register. So now what you have to do, you have to use, first of all, try to register from this form, then create a complicated form wherein you will be using radio buttons, check boxes, select combo boxes, and from there, if you can register, it will be very good for you. Otherwise, we can have one session on all those types of input controls as well. Thank you very much.